I'm not gonna fuck up this intro like I did Rod and Karen.
I know. I'm still mad at you over that one.
All right, here we go. Hey, Snow,
Hey, MJ.
what's going on?
Just another lazy weekend.
Well, yeah, I know. I was up early watching the hockey game, but
Oh, yeah.
on that note, we welcome back our friend who made his triumphant return to the comedy stage after 4 months, back to our Make a Wish podcast. Welcome, J.L. Cauvin.
Great to
Woo!
be here. Yes,
Hey,
I have returned, as prophecy had it. Yeah, it's good. Good to be here. Yep, had some good shows this weekend. I enjoyed the hockey game this morning as well.
So, how'd the show go?
It was so it was Friday and Saturday night, and I urge people, I hate to make a plug this early, but I posted the first third of my set from last night to my Patreon page because I had one of the craziest train rides to Princeton. The gigs were in Princeton, New Jersey. It was one of the most insane train rides I've ever been on. And that's it. That's the teaser. But Friday's show, I was very rusty. Um, I always have my wit, but I just wasn't. I didn't feel, you know, just didn't feel great about it. And then last night, it just took me one day. And last night, I had a phenomenal set. So it just took sacrificing that Friday crowd to have a horrible night so that I could deliver a great night for the Saturday crowd.
Awesome. Yes, and go to his Patreon to hear the story. I've yet to hear the travel story. It seems like we always get you the next day after you've had a horrible travel experience.
Well, I think that's there. I don't know why that is the case, but it's just a lot of times I have normal travel experiences, but good Lord, this one to New Jersey to Princeton was crazy. It was just so bizarre. This man missed a flight, and I was basically like he got on the wrong train. He wanted a train to the airport, and this our train was an express, and he was definitely going to miss his international flight. And he was having a complete meltdown, and it was just me and him in our area of the train.
Oh, no.
So I named the title of the bit, but it's really just it's several bits. It's the first 20 minutes of my set, but that was the main bit, and I called it the Asian Suicide Prevention Train Line.
And for the rest of the story, subscribe to Jail Command's Patreon.
Yes, there it is. That's
There we
what
go.
you do. That's what we
And
do
I'm
in this
gonna have to
institute.
because I really want to know what happened now.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm not going to tell Snow. I'm going to make her subscribe to your Patreon.
Well, I will. I know. I'm always a little slow at that stuff. Like I feel like I'm one of the dumber Gen Xers when it comes to like all the computer stuff. Like I'm kind of slow learning about
Yeah.
how to work things.
I know. I'm sitting here. I have to set up all this stuff, and just Snow just sits there and just be like, "All right, just let me look good." And yeah,
Hey, I make cocktails though.
that is, she makes fantastic cocktails.
Well, there you go. It's the teamwork that makes the dream work.
Okay, so see Jail Codan as Trump and Trump Takes Vegas as part of Pod Jam 3, April 9th through 12th, Las Vegas. Venue to be determined as far as I know at this point. But you can see Pete, of course, Rod and Karen from the Black Guy Who Tips, and us.
We'll be
Yeah.
there.
We will be there in the audience somewhere.
It's a who's who of who the hell are these people?
Somebody from Pete's group was like lobbying, saying, "Why aren't you on the podcast group?" And I'm just like, I don't know. You have to ask Pete about that. But he doesn't return my emails. But
No, I'm fine with watching people who have been doing this longer than us. Okay.
I've been doing this 6 years now.
Yeah, but like I don't want to be all nervous up there and stuff. No. No.
No, so and Trump takes Vegas would be the night of Friday, April 10th.
Yep, and that'll be if people want to see if you've got your Kingman community, if there's some people who are thinking maybe we'll take the trip. I know you've got a few people who will make the trip, but if you go to my YouTube and check out Trump versus Canada, that should make anybody a believer in Trump versus Vegas because it's basically going to be that kind of a show. So it'll be fun. It'll be depressing because it involves Trump, but it'll be mostly fun.
Well, Bridget here, +1, has already got her tickets.
Hopefully, there's a long story, but if I am without my +1, I have another +1 in Vegas I can tap. So
All right.
Cool.
Excellent.
not literally. He's a gay man. It's all right. So.
Oh, that's all right. You could still just kind of tap him gently,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just in a platonic way, like tap him on the shoulder. The ass is not the only thing that gets tapped.
Oh, I just tap him on the ass. We're pretty close.
Hey, so speaking of Canada, what do you think about that game this morning?
It was a great game. It was fun. I was a half hour, as I told you in private messages. I'm sorry to reveal our private conversations, but I was a half hour late to mass because I don't live in one of those towns. There's always those stories from like when the men were in the hockey game against the Soviet Union in 1980. Churches delayed mass so people could watch or whatever the nonsense will be that they'd claim. But yeah, nobody cared at my church. So I just walked in and had missed, the bulk of the mass. I basically was just walking in there to get communion and walking out. But it was, or as you guys might call it, a cult. I listened to your show. I hear your attacks on faith. But it was an amazing game. I still just have these conflicted feelings because to me, Canada is the righteous country when it comes to US versus Canada. And yet, I'm not like anti-America just because Trump is in office, but it's like he's uniquely attacked Canada as our friend and neighbor. So I kind of sympathize with the country and I'm like, yeah, it must suck to see us. And by the way, a lot of the hockey players are MAGA, not just sort of conservative, but there's plenty of MAGA dudes on the hockey team. So it makes it very hard to be like, yeah, we did it. A bunch of MAGA guys beat Canada, who MAGA's attacking. Yeah, we rock. But it was a great game, and I'm just gonna say I hope Connor Hellebuck is not MAGA, so I can just go, nice job, goalie, great game, epic game, iconic performance. Not
the
MAGA.
MAGA ones are fucking each other.
I was gonna say, are they maybe there's heated rivalry ones?
Well, yeah,
I do love that show.
maybe
Like it's,
the idea had to come from somewhere.
yeah.
They
Right?
could be heated rivalry people, but it's they'd probably say, it's not gay if it's in a foreign country. Some sort of rule that
But they
they've
got all those
created.
condoms at their disposal.
No, but they went through the condoms. I think there was a story that they like went through the condoms really soon. So it's all patriotic raw dog, I guess.
What do you think about the ones? There was a couple athletes that were speaking out against Trump on it, and of course he had to attack them, and they had to be like, "Well, you should just give up your uniform and go home if you don't support Trump."
Yeah, I mean that's that autocrat dictator talk where it's like I am the country. I like it's it's such a sad place we're in right now because Trump is so obviously it should go without saying. He's unpatriotic, he's awful, he's un-American. He abuses the office and basically makes claim to like, I am president of America. Like when people say respect the office, my response is usually, why should I respect the office more than the person who has the office? He has no respect for the office at all. So it's like, why should he be given my respect when he doesn't even accord his own responsibility and title with respect? And um, I I'm totally fine with athletes speaking out. Like, I know people always hate when sports, they want sports to be a distraction. um, with reality, people who are comfortable in their reality, who see no need to disrupt their fun. Whereas it's like, well, for other people, it's their opportunity to speak out on things. Like, just to give you an example of the hockey, Austin Matthews, the captain, is like half Mexican, or his one of his parents is Mexican or Mexican American. And I'm
Mhm.
sure he will just do the hockey thing of like, he'll show up to the White House, he'll shake hands. Maybe he comes from conservative stock. Obviously, Trump did very well with Latinos in 2024. But I'd just be curious. And I thought of myself having a Haitian father, like, I'd either not go, or I'd go and say, would you like to apologize for the way you spoke about Haitian people and the nonsense you were spreading? And some people would call that disrespectful. I would say accusing Haitians of eating pets was disrespectful and unbecoming of a president or a decent human being. But I'm sure, my guess is Austin Matthews will just be like every other hockey player, which is like posing and laughing and holding the medals, and that's it. But if he did say something, the idea of, well, you called my people rapists and drug dealers. Would you like to apologize for that, or make a different statement? And then people would say, oh, that's disrespectful. And it's like, really? Just asking the president to be decent is now disrespectful? And I think we're at that point now as a country where they view him as America. Like, he is their bald eagle. You know what I mean? Like, he is the flag. He is another sacred symbol of America to sort of hateful, ignorant, symbolic patriots. The same way there are, and I'm reading Fugelsang's book, which is, so far, it's great. It's such a fun read, The
Mhm.
Separation of Church and Hate. And they are birds of a feather, these sort of faux Christians and faux patriots they're all about the symbols. They're all about stand for the anthem, but treat people like shit. You know, honor the Constitution, but don't keep your word. Like, it's all these kind of nonsense symbolic patriots and symbolic Christians who don't practice any of what those documents and books actually demand of you. And so he's just the newest and biggest symbol of sort of fake patriotism to them. So even asking him to be decent it would be like laughably, but I'm sure it would be called disrespectful if any player asked him a genuine question like, hey, I'm half Mexican. Could I'd love to talk to you about, why those words were hurtful. Even if you said it in like some soft way, he'd get very flustered and uncomfortable, and his supporters would flock to defend him. As I said on one of my albums, he gets to both be the most powerful man and awesome dude in the world, and also gets treated like a special needs puppy by his supporters. It's like he's the most fragile thing that must be protected, and he's the most awesome, dominant guy ever. And it's ridiculous. So, long way of saying, I would support athletes speaking up no matter what, but especially when this isn't normal. He is not a normal president. He is not worthy of respect. He is undignified. He's cruel. He has tarnished our country. He shits on all the foundations of our country that we claim to believe in and make us great. So fuck him.
Yeah, they'll just jump straight to the hate. They'll just say that they would say that like the athlete is hateful. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they do. Anytime you say one critical thing, like I've been facing that lately. I've been just told that I'm just straight up hateful because I criticize the president.
Yeah, Snow's been working on her skills fighting back at the trolls online, but she doesn't do it Facebook. She does like next door.
Yeah, I do the
Well,
local
I,
Keep it
ones because there's so many of them
I'm going
here.
to start teaching some classes based on my expertise in responding to trolls on my platforms.
You know what I do?
That'd be good.
You know what I do though is I quote John Fugelsang's book back to him, and it ends the argument every time. I'm giving you Jesus here.
Yeah.
Argue with me.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially when they start with like the Bible stuff, if you just tell them like a really good one to quote is Matthew. in the Sermon on the Mount. Like they pretty much shut up after that one.
Yeah, I think it would be funny if MJ became the Saint Paul to John Fugelsang's Jesus, and then started misquoting and misapplying John Fugelsang's book, and then I will write a book called The Separation of Hate and Fugelsang, and I will explain why what John Fugelsang said was this, and we
Let's do
create
it.
like an inception of just different texts
Inception.
being misinterpreted.
All right, so let's get to the heart of why we wanted to talk to you. You've had kind of a weird few months here on the
Yeah.
campaign trail, New Jersey 11, and unfortunately, you did not win.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's the understatement of the year so far.
yeah, yes. we,
Um,
we feel for you on that one. We were pulling for you. But what was it like, and what were you up against?
it was I there were stressful moments, but I am very glad I did it. And overall, I really enjoyed it. As weird as that is to say. And I think until the votes started coming in, I towards the end, I was just like, I don't think I can compete with the money and the sort of built-in base that a few of the candidates kind of brought to the table. What gave me hope, though, delusional hope, kind of like my comedy career, where it's like, well, I know I'm very funny and I do X, Y, and Z. And then you see some clown like get elevated above you and you go, but how? Because there's other factors at work. But every event I did, almost every event I did with the other candidates, you know, it was, I think what I ran into was people were very intrigued. And I had a very clear message, which is here's what I do for a living. Here are my sort of progressive bona fides. Here's my resume so that you know I'm somebody kind of intellectually capable and progressive enough to be a strong representative for Democrats. But what sets me apart is that I thrive in the sort of social media environment as well. And it was such a brief amount of time, but the case I was trying to make to people was, you know, I'm a smart guy. I I do good work in terms of eviction prevention, in terms of like one of the main, when people talk about affordability, a lot of the time they're talking about my gas bill is too high, or especially in the district I live in, it's a lot of homeowners complaining about property taxes and energy bills. Not to say those aren't legitimate concerns, but I was sort of bringing to bear, there's a deeper and more critical affordability crisis, which is housing. And that's the space I work in. And if we're going to be progressives who care and not just say, like, I felt like sometimes people were kind of patting me on the back, going like, that's very good that you work in that. Like, I feel good knowing you because you're doing good things, but I really just kind of care about my property taxes and my electric bill and not the broader. And that's sometimes the problem we have as Democrats, which is a sort of our hearts are in the right place. And yet many times we're not willing to do anything else besides put our hearts in the right place, put our money on the line, our time on the line, choose maybe bolder candidates. And so I had limited time. And I think what happened for people is they heard I was a comedian. They were like, that piqued their interest like a novelty act. And then they would see this is somebody very smart, very sharp, who communicates differently than everybody else, very like cookie cutter. I have a plan. Like everybody sounded like they were running for president. You're like, I'm going to make things. I got, your congressman is your heat-seeking missile. I am your messenger. So you want the strongest messenger possible. You give me the message, I deliver the message for you, was kind of a simple way of me saying it. I said, if you can trust me intellectually and you trust my values as a left of center Democrat, then there's no contest in terms of who's going to deliver a message better for you and draw more attention for the district in terms of our modern media. So people like appreciated that message. It kind of made them interested in me. And I think for a lot of people, they fell into the sort of familiar, there were three kind of camps. There was like the local sort of politician guy who had done a lot of like local work. There was Malinowski, who was the former congressman who came with the heaviest resume. And then there was Anna Lilia Mejia, who came with the backing of Bernie. She had worked for Bernie. Being totally, just being completely honest, I thought her branding and her association with Bernie and the fact that she had like, she didn't have like the big super PAC kind of money, but she had good money and like the Working Families Party kind of helping drive sort of engagement for her and getting out the vote and door knocking and calls. Like there was a more grassroots feel to it, but it certainly was like still institutional, if you know what I mean. It wasn't just like, I'm just here on my own and people came to me. It was like you have built-in support. When Ayanna Pressley and Bernie Sanders are coming to the district for you, that's
Yeah.
that's platinum level grassroots. That's not just a man or a
Yeah.
woman with a dream to help the community. And I'm not denigrating that, because she's done real work. Like she has done real work in the progressive space. But at these events, I'd see people and I'd say, there's one or two people in this race who I think are going to be really bold, effective communicators for the space we're in now. I think Mejia is a hard worker and somebody who's done good work and is obviously connected to the progressive caucus and will be an active member of that caucus. And what I said to differentiate myself was, I am here for you and no one else. And it would be great if the squad and NJ11 are always in harmony. But what about if they're not? I will side with NJ11, as much as that might anger some Bernie folk. That's my job at the end of the day. If my conscience is clear, then I will do what my constituents want. I won't conflict with my values, but then it's not about me after that. It's about you. And I feel like there could be moments where it's like, well, the district wants this, but this is a moment for the Bernie AOC caucus and we've got to go. So that was kind of how I was trying to differentiate myself. And I think it resonated with people, but many voters sort of made the practical decision as well that I was not going to be a top 3 or 4 candidate. And it was a close race. So therefore, I don't like to think of someone throwing their vote away on me, but in a practical way, you kind of would be. If I'm not going to be in the top 4 or 5, then you make the business decision of going with somebody who's going to be a top 4 candidate so that your vote can maybe influence the winner. And I think it was unfortunate, because I think if the campaign had not been a special election, but been like a broader 6-month kind of campaign, I would have had more runway to ask people at work for a leave of absence and then really do door to door and set up like weekly meetings and events and like create that kind of trust that you need as a new candidate. Because you are asking a lot of people to just say, I know you just heard of me and you heard I'm a comedian, but wait, there's so much more. And I think I opened people's eyes and was a very interesting, compelling new voice. And I hate saying that, like, that wasn't my goal. I wouldn't have asked people for money and spent all this time draining my energy if I didn't believe I had a case to make and a path that I could articulate. But, the silver lining of a, electoral landslide failure is that a lot of people did take notice of me and are sort of interested in me, maybe at a more local level, but that will still give me an avenue to enter in a serious way. So sorry, very long answer, but that's sort of how it was, because I would not bullshit you. If I was terrible on the stump or embarrassed myself, I'd be like, I kind of sucked, but I was very good. And my learning curve was very quick, and everybody kind of was mostly just this. And I had like this kind of a curve to speaking with crowds and articulating my vision, my policies, and sort of what I thought I brought to the table. And a lot of people, they'd come up to me and say, we really agree with you. You're making a great point. We really don't have good communicators. And then I'm sure they went and voted for somebody they didn't consider that great a communicator.
Whose idea was it for the commercial though? Because the commercial was brilliant, the one at the train station.
Well, that was mine. I wrote that. I did it. We did several takes, but it was a one take shot. I wanted to, I was kind of saying, if I'm arguing that I'm a better communicator, I better be able to do my commercial in sort of one continuous take. So yeah, I was really happy about that ad. It was my first, political thing I've ever written. And, people noticed. The deacon at my church stopped me after mass one day and just said, "I saw your ad. Very good." And I said, "I've made it."
We were sharing it locally around here. We're like, check this guy out. Why can't we get someone to run like this out here?
If you
Yeah.
know what, maybe it's time that I just say, all right, I'm moving, I'm getting old. It's time for me to move to drier climate for my joints. And all of a sudden they're going to call me Martin Luther Kingman, as I come and save the liberals of Kingman, Arizona.
Yeah, run against Gosar.
Oh, I mean,
Oh.
you gotta, it's when your own family hates you, that is such a bad endorsement, for a
Right?
candidate.
Yet they still overwhelmingly vote for him. And
What,
it boggles the mind.
what is that? I mean, I think we've probably talked about it last time because that, when you mentioned it, that's kind of what you always lead with is like, we're Paul Gosar's district.
It's so people feel sorry for us.
Well, you never want your congressman to sound like the villain from Ghostbusters either.
Gozer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. But what is it like? Do you feel, because you've got to be in a kind of crazy district, obviously, like to have somebody like that, but do you ever feel unsafe?
From the people around here, sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Snow and I wrote a piece for a local paper after Parkland, where a local gun nut wrote this op-ed piece about, about the Second Amendment. And I can tell you an AR-15 doesn't stand for, assault rifle. Yeah, no shit, dude. So we wrote one back and we said, we can tell you that we know what our AR-15 stands like, and I could go through the whole thing. But we put that out and it set Facebook on fire. And I was having people wanting to go to my work and come and get me because of that. Just for saying, hey, you didn't mention kids in your article at all.
Wow. Yeah, because I just think to elect somebody like Gosar, or I'd hate to go to like Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, where it's like, who are these people that look to these Congress people and say, yes, that is my voice. That is the type of person that I want representing me. It's sort of, I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
Well, if you had more time, we'd show you around Kingman and you could get a feel for it yourself. But
Yeah, and I wish I did. I would come a day early and just get the tour of Kingman, Arizona. But my job is being very, very rigid with my vacation time. I'm too valuable in keeping poor people in their homes, I guess.
Yeah, you don't want to waste a vacation day either
on Kingman.
Yeah.
Hey, you give me like a 2-hour drive on the way to Vegas. We do a loop and then head to Vegas.
All right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So, I mean, the news cycle, since we talked to you last, we talked to you right before you announced your intentions on running. Let's start off with a big one, ICE.
More funding for ICE is my position.
Now, if you indeed ran, though, what would your position be?
Oh, I said my position was abolish ICE, and I said, we were asked about this, and I don't think it's the same as a defund the police, which I do think was politically stupid. Every community has police, and all you need is one crime to happen to you or someone you know, and you will immediately look at defund the police and go, yeah, that's too much. Like that was a social media kind of slogan that caught fire, and it spoke to people's anger and frustration. But that is a completely sort of that defund the police is like saying stop the AI. Like It's not happening. Like, it's not happening. So you're picking a fight that you are destined to lose. And that's under good circumstances. If crime rises, then you become the problem. It's not just a loser. Now you are part of the problem. But abolish ICE, to me, is not the same thing. And I don't like that some independents and Democrats are kind of suggesting like this is defund the police part two. I'm going, these people are being used in a way that is unsalvageable. Now, that's not me saying, and I said it at one event in particular. I said, we obviously will need border security. We will obviously need immigration enforcement. This is not, but when something is so bad, it needs to be scrapped, and there needs to be a new process to build something up that's better and that is more restricted. So that's the next time, unfortunately, we have a Trump, a Vance, a Don Jr., whoever, whatever nightmare the right will try to cling to, that they are more restrained, that they can't use immigration enforcement in this way again, that there's no like wiggle room to sort of turn them into your own hit squad. And then somebody might say, well, then why not just say reform, restrain? I go, because they murdered people in the street and they're a bunch of thugs walking around in masks and they're affiliated with Donald Trump. I hate to break it to everybody. This guy is the worst president and one of the worst people America's ever produced. There may be assholes and idiots and greedy racist monsters who disagree with me. That is an objective fact to basically the rest of the world and half of this country at least. So the stain on the country is so great from Trump and from ICE that it's like, no, it has to be torn down and rebuilt, plain and simple. And it's not the same as defund the police, because there's no community need for masked bros walking around harassing and violently attacking citizens and immigrants. That's not a thing that we're going to wake up in 6 months and go, oh no, you know what? I've changed my mind because we definitely should have dudes in masks beating up people to make sure immigrants aren't here. That's not going to be a need that we all of a sudden think, oh, we need that. Police, we need. We can be mad at the police. We can not like the way that certain police officers and departments act. That's a reform issue because police are necessary in all communities in some capacity. But what Trump has turned ICE to is not needed. But what they've done is so bad that it does need to be started from scratch.
How about the Supreme Court made a decision that his tariffs were illegal, but then he went out the next day and said, well, I'm keeping them in place. I'm raising them another 10 and now 15%. What do you think? How are we going to rein this guy in? Obviously, that's probably not an answer you have, but
yeah. And I think he's going to try and abuse where he is able to raise tariffs. Like he's going to just maximize where he has the legal authority. And once again, it will not be good. That's the other part that nobody talks about. It's like he'll force tariffs on things where he's allowed to, and it will hurt the economy and hurt businesses and hurt consumers. This is him once again proving it's all about me. Like, this is not about anybody except me. I believe in tariffs. I'm speaking as Trump. I believe very strongly in tariffs. And he believes in tariffs the way a Christian believes in Jesus. Like, that's it. Tariffs. I like tariffs. They work. Tariffs are great. We do tariffs and we get money. The Democrats hate money. We don't hate money. We love money. And I think, this is why I'm so mad that he can't run again, because that's what I don't think people don't understand. He doesn't give a shit. Like, you gave him the office. You gave him the office to abuse, and he's abusing it. And half the country knew this is exactly what he would do, that he's a terrible person, hell-bent on grift and revenge. That's it. And he takes it personally that people keep talking about tariffs because he believes something else. Like, it's faith. He has faith in Donald Trump and Donald Trump's beliefs. And when somebody challenges them, he doubles down. He says, no, I'm doing this. So I think he's going to do whatever tariffs he can legally to the maximum. It will be stupid and harmful, but it will satisfy his ego. I think it's a disgrace that the Supreme Court was only 6-3. This is usually the kind of a decision in history that would be 9-0. Like, hey, this is pretty basic Article 1 stuff. So we need to send a message as a court that says, no, you can't do this. This is basic. We have to at least defend the basic framework. And unfortunately, Clarence Thomas and Sam Alito are total garbage, and they are political actors at this point. They are not judges at all. And Kavanaugh is like deciding whether he, I guess, wants to be a, political judge or a judge. And so the fact that wasn't 9-0 is disturbing, because usually with a case this important in terms of the message it's sending, I guarantee you Roberts tried to get it to 9-0. And at least two of those judges are just wings of the Donald Trump administration at this point, which is why I would advocate, of course, for packing the court. I know that, and term limits for justices, and adding justices to the court. I don't like it. I don't like that we're the generation that fucked up the country enough by electing Donald Trump that we have to start doing major things differently. But that's what we did. We elected Donald Trump twice. And with that come serious repercussions and serious needs for reform, because clearly we can't trust the American people not to elect a raping criminal.
Well, and that's why the country will never really, the outside world isn't going to trust again. Just say
Right.
if there's an election in 2028, they're not going to be like, oh, welcome back. Here.
No, because there's
Go
one
back
in
to table.
2032.
Yeah.
That's why they can't trust us, because we would have the world's trust if Kamala Harris were president right now, because it would say, oh, Trump was a mistake. Everybody's entitled to a fuck up. No country is perfect. This was America's once in 100-year fuck up. And instead they said, no, I mean, Biden got us through the pandemic, and the stock market's good, but eggs are too expensive, and I don't like the black lady. I don't relate to her. I don't trust her. I don't like her. Not for any, just because, I don't like it. She's just a black lady, and I don't get it, and I don't like it.
To laugh.
Right. And so they can't trust us for a generation now. And he has fucked up things people really don't know and may never know. Like, there were Supreme Court decisions that were big in the legal world, like when they got rid of the Chevron doctrine, which basically allowed agencies to have a lot of leeway for their expertise to sort of, Congress gives you this and now you can go do it. Now you have the leeway because you're an expert in agriculture or environmental science or computer science or space, where you now have more freedom within that law as experts in the executive branch to do things. That got rid of that sort of deference to that expertise. And then what's going to happen over years is Congress will be able to do less and less and less. And people will go, government sucks. Government can't do anything. And you know who loves that? Rich Republicans. They love it when government can't do anything. And when people lose faith in government, they go, yay, more for us.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and then you see institutions like CBS just caving
Oof.
to this guy, which, I mean, I was really, because I grew up in the household, like we were watching 60 Minutes every week with my dad and stuff like that. And it was a really,
I used to love that show.
Yeah.
And the Sunday morning show, that was my family thing. No more.
It's embarrassing. And I think this is, once again, there are so many things government does and needs to do that people just don't pay attention to. And as a well-meaning Democrat, I said this at an event, I said, we have the unfortunate responsibility as Democrats of educating people, of doing things for people, and not being too annoying while doing it. Like, that is a very tough thing to do. You can't lecture people. They hate that. But you got to educate them so they understand how their government works and why it's important. And then you actually have to deliver for them. That's the Democrats' responsibility. The Republican responsibility is Democrats suck. The end. That's my speech, everybody. I did it. We all hate Democrats, right? Vote for me. I'll make a bunch of promises to you. You don't even care how your government works anyway. I don't either. So fuck it. Democrats suck. That's the messaging of Republicans over the last decade plus. And the idea of having to educate people while delivering for them. I said this on the stump. I said, it sucks, but that's reality. Like, I don't think it should be that way. I wish every citizen were informed and focused and interested in their government and how things work. But we don't live in that world. So we have to take on the extra burden of educating and delivering. And, I have very low, I hate to say this, but I have really low hope for the future, because we don't have two. We have a dysfunctional, well-meaning party, and we have a completely not well-meaning party that is not that dysfunctional because their function is to destroy government and to not deliver for people. Like that, they always talk about they hate government. They want to be in government so they can dismantle government. What job would you ever hire someone? I want a plumber. His goal is to flood my apartment. No, I'm not going to hire that plumber then. I need a plumber who will stop the flooding, not get me to move out of my apartment.
Yeah. Well, and they want small government, but then they do stuff like we'll go to local here in our district, our board of supervisors for the county, District 5 Supervisor Ron Gould wants to ban a book just because it's about a non-binary character. Now I have a non-binary young adult, and so this struck me pretty hard, and I jumped all on my little bandwagon, got up on my soapboard. I wrote the local papers and stuff like that. The book is A Beautiful Something Else by Ash Van Otterloo. I'll just give them a plug. But what do you think about the government trying to step in and telling us what we can or cannot present to our children to read?
If I can give you an example first from my campaign to illustrate what I think of this. One of the events for the candidates was at this organization, this nonprofit, where I'm probably going to send most of my leftover money to as a donation. They work with HIV positive people, with trans people, with LGBTQ people who are either homeless or have been shunned by their families, any number of things. It was a really inspiring sort of event, not because I said my piece and we all said our piece, but talking to the people after and learning about this organization, it was very moving because, I try to stay informed. Obviously, I read the paper, I vote, I do all the normal things, but you realize there's a lot of groups out there doing really hard work anonymously or low key that are really important for individuals and families. And I talked to this one woman after who was telling me that, she was very upbeat, I think because she felt community and safety there and support. But she was saying her son is trans. She has a trans son who's whether a junior or senior in high school. And she was saying, yeah, we had to move. Like we had to look for a community where we thought he'd be safe. And this is New Jersey. This isn't Alabama or Florida or somewhere this is New Jersey. And they needed to move someplace where they felt safe and that their son could feel welcome. And I said, this was just a new experience to me because I always say I stand with, this community, but now I'm like actually talking to somebody who's telling me about their daily experience. And she said, I said, do his friends know that he's trans? Like if this is like such a sort of secret operation. And she said, only his very closest friends know. So a lot of the acquaintances and friends of this person have no idea. And she said to me, when we're looking for colleges, we're looking at colleges now, we'd love to just look for what's the best school you can get into. But they're looking for the school that will be most welcoming, most safest, the kind of environment where they will not have to be stressed all the time worrying about their son and is their son okay? And they'll always worry, obviously, as parents, but in a way that's like, we can just worry normally, like a normal set of parents. And that was so eye-opening to me because, to bring it back to your example, the small government, the stay out of our lives, individual liberty people, individual liberty for them, intrusive bigotry for you. And the idea that this woman is moving communities, is in consultation with doctors about the treatment of their son, that you're going to pretend like this woman so that you can demonize them is their kid just went to school one day and the school made the kid trans and we've got to stop this. It's that dumb. I mean, I'm not speaking to people who don't. The rhetoric is that fucking stupid that it's like, and I'm sitting here with a woman whose entire life is geared around the safety and comfort of her child. And you want me to believe that this is a person who's just harming their child and doesn't care. This is consultation, between a medical provider, like if I don't want to take a vaccine, that's my medical privacy. But if you talk to a doctor over years about the treatment of your child in a very difficult, world-changing, life-altering move to change genders, you want me to believe that that doesn't warrant any protection or respect of privacy or family. Okay. And then you want to and then the looking at all that the hoops they have to jump through, ignoring that, and then further demonizing these people, making their lives more miserable as they just try to find some place where their child can be safe and happy, is disgusting. And so when it comes to that's how they're treating the people. So a book banning is nothing, because that's just trying to foster a further culture of discrimination and hate. So the book banning is an afterthought to them. That's just how we reinforce in everybody's minds that we don't respect these people and we don't respect their journey and we don't respect their rights. It's the book banning is disgusting, but I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg, because it seems like they're doing parallel things. We're both discriminating against the people and hurting them and harming their lives, but we also don't want to lose fact of the sort of littler things that we can do to create a hostile environment. So the book banning is there to support the bigotry, in a softer way. I think they go hand in hand, though. It's not, nobody thinks the fucking books are dangerous. It's about supporting the bigotry in softer ways.
Right. And I think Mr. Gould is personally doing this just to build his brand on it.
Right.
And if it wasn't for some of our local friends pointing out what happened in that meeting, this would have just gone under the rug. No one would have noticed it. And they would have, of course, taken this book out and then be allowed to go, well, what other books don't we like?
Mhm.
And just start from there. Thank you for that answer, though.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick round here. Your best movies of last year.
Oh, well, you're asking me to leak some future Patreon content, but okay. For you guys, I will. For you guys, I will. I'm going to give you right now, as of now, and there's like probably a half a dozen movies we have lined up that are either Oscar movies or just movies we really wanted to see that we didn't get to see before I officially announce my top 10. But right now, I can just give you my top 4 favorite movies of the year in no order, because I don't want people to know.
Pay attention, Snuff.
Sinners, One Battle After Another, F1, and Warfare.
Okay, I have not seen Warfare. I've seen the others. All great movies.
Warfare is on HBO Max right now, but we saw it in the theater in April. It came out like a week or two before Sinners, I think. Incredible. And it was very highly rated, like 94% Rotten Tomatoes, 95% audience rating. So it's one of the most intense movies that I've ever seen, and it has an incredible, simple but unmissable anti-war message to it.
Did you see the one with it had Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal? I always forget the name.
Eddington.
Eddington.
I did. I liked it.
All right. I know you don't like The Bear, but
Neither
you
do I.
But you do, and I want to be respectful in your home.
No.
I don't like it.
Yeah, but the pit. What do you think of the pit?
I love the pit. I love it.
So, the
I
intensity of it.
I just finished season 1, just so we don't get into spoilers. I just finished season 1, so I have not begun season 2 yet. My joke about it was like, who knew that working in an emergency room was almost as intense as working in a Chicago restaurant?
Fair enough. All right. Thoughts on Robert Duvall? We lost him this week.
Great actor. I know he did a lot of things, but he'll always be Tom Hagen to me.
Yes.
And I reading his obituary, I found, I couldn't help but gravitate to a part that said he was, unlike a lot of Hollywood, he was a lifelong Republican and conservative, but never spoke in favor of Trump. Spoke in favor of many different Republicans, but never spoke in favor of Trump. And I'd like to think, not that it matters now, he's a great actor and he's passed on, but I'd like to think that means he was a, sort of a McCain type, just a guy who had conservative values and whatnot, but like the Trump bullshit was not that. I hope. But like I said, he's passed anyway. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Who is the better cook, you or Laura?
I mean, that's like saying who dunks a basketball better, me or Laura, except in the opposite, because I'm a horrible cook and she is very good.
What's your best dish? Well, what's
It's
your
a good
favorite?
question. I'm not sure. It's weird because it's not like I would say there's any dish, because I eat pretty simply, but she'll just make some nice salmon or a nice chicken dish or a roast or anything. And most of the time it's very appetizing, But I'm a simple eater. So it's not like I'm like, oh, she does. Cause she won't be as daring, I think, with what her choices are, because she's like, well, you eat simply. So I don't want to make something too crazy.
What do you eat like a teenager?
I eat like a toddler, I'm told. Like it's like, when I get my plain hamburger with French fries with nothing on it, just salmon, quinoa, broccoli, because I eat so much garbage in my spare time that like my meals are often fairly plain and I try to be nutritious.
Well, that's good balance.
Yeah, it'd be better if I just eliminated the garbage.
I eat garbage, but I can cook too at the same time.
Oh, all right.
But and Snow is pretty decent cook too.
Okay.
So I guess we're a little more than 6 weeks away from Vegas, something like that.
Yeah.
Getting closer.
Yeah.
Um,
Looking forward to it.
yes, and anybody that listens to us, you can get your tickets to JL Takes Vegas April 10th, Friday night at humantix.com.
Yeah, it's a fun, and you guys can attest to the fact it's a fun event, and it's, Rod and Pete are both like Karen and Pete are all like very accomplished podcasters with good fan bases. So I think it'll be a nice event to kind of join those fan bases as well, who are different but also kind of united in sort of in values and like you guys said last year, you loved it because it felt like, you guys must have felt like the ugly ducklings who find out like, oh, that's just because Kingman is full of Republican ducks, but here I am with the liberal swans
Right.
I've found my group. So, and Rod brings, a different wing of the sort of progressive liberal, space. And it's, I think it'll be great to broaden the group.
Yeah, and
I'm looking forward to meeting them in person too.
yeah, we just got Rod and Karen from you.
Yeah.
And they were just fantastic people.
Oh, I listened because you told me I was on that you talked about me. So I said, well, I've got to listen. No, it was very good.
All right. And how long is that Amtrak ride anyways? From New Jersey to
Well, so I go in the afternoon. The late morning I go my train goes Newark to DC, and then I have an hour layover because I really like the DC to Chicago route versus the other option, which is like through upstate New York and stuff. So I get to Chicago on Wednesday morning, and then I have 6 hours before my trip to Kingman from Chicago. So what I generally do is I get a hotel, and it's very weird. They must think I'm going to do because I'll get like a hotel here near the train station, this cheap hotel, and I go in, I use the bathroom, I take a nice shower, I then get a healthy lunch, and I check out like the same within 5 hours of checking. I'm done. And they're like, really? That's it? I'm sure they go into the room and like look for contraband or a dead body. And then I get back into Union Station and we head out. And it's like I sleep one night on the train, and it's the full day, and then some because I get to Kingman if it's on schedule at 11 p.m. At which point you guys will welcome me home like parents greeting their giant son home from college, except I will be like, keep your distance. I've been on a train for a day and a half. My first stop will be the hotel shower as soon as you drop me off. And and then I will immediately try to get to sleep so that I'm fresh for the podcast and everything else the next day. But it's start to finish. The Chicago trip alone is, I think, 40. Is it 40? Is it 30? It's like 30 something hours.
Wow.
So I just read. I read a lot of writing, enjoying.
All right. Well,
It cut out.
yeah, your mic's cutting out there.
The
Yeah.
microphone did it. The microphone did the microphone
Or
thing.
the service,
I'm-
the internet.
I'm
I
gonna.
think I was going to say to Jay on Making Podcasts Great Again tonight, the mic never really cuts out. I think it might be my internet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like.
I
I'm
think
gonna.
Fios is a piece of shit. They brag all the time like they're so great. Fuck Fios.
I'm gonna share with you what I do on how I do it, and I don't rely on the computer for the sound. So
Mhm.
I'll give you a little insider info on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we look forward to seeing you.
Hell yeah.
Shit, there was something else I wanted to mention here at the end here. But I drew a blank.
It's not on the list.
It's not on my list.
Uh,
I went through the list.
you should have put it on the list.
I know.
I can banter for another minute if you think it'll come back to you. What was I just saying? You don't know what I was saying when I got cut off. That's the irony.
Exactly.
I have a question. Do you
Yes.
think that you'll still like maybe run again sometime? Like
I
run
mean,
for office?
Yeah, I think I want to sort of explore what my local options are.
Like
And I
city
don't mean just
council?
town in Jersey. Everything's a town. So I guess it'd be
Oh.
town council or committees. Jersey is really weird. There are all these layers that I don't even know how they intersect. It's like district leader, ward, freeholder, assembly, state senate. Like obviously state senate and
Oh.
assembly are big, but
Okay.
there's all these different layers that I like. Somebody, a fan, not a fan, like a fan of my campaign who knows local politics well. She was like, "Oh, I'd like to sit down with you and we can discuss all these. Like, I can give you a crash course on like the local political scene." So yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in that. My thing is finding, nationally, I had my sort of issues that I cared about that I would want to kind of work at a national level on, but locally, it's not the same scope. So I want to find find the bridge between the issues I care about and where I could be effective locally. Because if I'm saying I want to pass a national elder care program, what use is that if I'm like local? But if there's
Yeah.
something with transportation or something where I could be, since I care about that also, where can I be involved in that? Like what office would maybe be the best place for me to start in terms of the issues I care about? Because when you're running for Congress, it's very easy to just be like, I care about these 7 big issues and that's what I'm going to fight for. Locally, I think I'd have to find more targeted spots, like which issues would be places I could work on and then pursue that sort of office. And then what I do for a day job with the housing lawyer, that's also something that's like a big commitment, where I feel like I'm doing good work. So I want, something that can fit in with that also, I guess. But yeah, this wasn't like a one and done. This was just the opportunity presented itself. So it was obviously a big first step and a big first misstep, but it did get my name out there. A lot more people are aware of me, and I did sort of present well on the campaign trail. Like a lot of good, reviews, if you will, of sort of, oh, this is somebody we should look to involve in things, which is nice. They just didn't vote for me.
So it did come to me during that.
Perfect.
Has a blizzard started yet?
It's snowing. Hi, snow. It's snowing, but I think it might just have started to stick a little bit. So I think it's going to be some chaotic overnight shit, possibly.
Is that going to affect your train, your commute in the morning?
Well, the thing is, if it's as bad as people are saying, they will probably close court, which means then I work remotely for the day. Because I have a couple of cases in court in the morning. It will affect New Jersey Transit is a true blight on humanity. And, a snowflake hits and they cancel 8 trains, let alone a blizzard. So
It's just like here.
Right.
yeah, but that makes more sense, because if it is a blizzard and if it's a little bit of snow, it's like, what the hell is this? Whereas here, it's like, it happens like a couple times a month. Can we get more prepared to deal with weather that we actually see? Like if it's whatever, where our infrastructure sucks. That's a nationwide problem. But I think I hope to work from home, because if I'm not working from home, if court is open, but it is bad weather, my commute, it'll be like somebody's got to take my cases for me, because I'm going to get there at noon at this rate.
No, good luck with that. And
Thank you.
Speaking of mass transit in New Jersey, listen to your new episode on Patreon. See how
You did?
I love.
Yeah. Tied it all
Thank you,
together.
Dan. I'm gonna have to subscribe.
Or I give you guys permission to, like, if you're bored and in the same place, to just go, all right, I'm going to play it on one account. I normally don't do that. For you guys, I'll waive the demand that you join for $3.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your time. I know you had a busy weekend, but the next time we have you on, hopefully it'll be in Vegas, in person, face to face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right.
It is weird to think. I don't know. Time feels like it's going by quickly, but I feel like I've known you guys more than 11 months. You know what I mean? I guess we were in communication. I did the show, but it's like we met in person 11 months ago.
Well, I mean, that's just the news cycle. Everything goes so fast, but again, it also feels like time's dragging at the same time.
Yeah. And then one day you just wake up and you're on your deathbed.
That's life. It was good seeing you, my friend, and we will
see you guys.
We'll of course be in touch over the next few weeks.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye.